Yo, what's good? It's Wes here, and today we're going to talk about Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, in 2026, specifically Agentic RAG and Graph RAG. First, let's just do a quick RAG recap so we're all on the same page. So Retrieval Augmented Generation, you basically take PDFs, documents that you have that you want to create your own knowledge base for LLM to be able to query, and only query that and not its trained generic knowledge, and instead specifically give you answers based off of your own data. A RAG system will take in like PDFs and they'll chunk them bit by bit, like every 250 characters. There's different ways of doing chunks and embeddings. You can do that, just 250 characters. You can do like sliding window where it'll do 250 characters and then it'll take the last 25 characters of the previous embedding and the next embedding and put that into one so it overlaps a little bit so that it relates to each other. And then there's recursive where it splits it in half and then it splits it again. Basically different ways of just chunking and putting that content into an embedding, which is just a long array of numbers defining like a coordinate in space, in multi-dimensional space of a vector database. So we'll put a visual up on here of what that looks like, but you can just imagine like XYZ axis and points that, are related to each other, like apple, banana, dog, cat are kind of close. So that's a vector database. The knowledge that you have of your company, whether that's like corporate data of internal people, processes, maybe your customers or clients, maybe it's your technical documentation, your architecture diagrams, things like that can all go into a knowledge base. When RAG started out, most people were just doing it into one vector database, one agent. Now, there's been a lot of agentic RAG systems that have come into fruition. Microsoft has released in 2025 their agent framework. And this is basically like, instead of just having one agent and one knowledge base, you can have multiple agents that have specialties, and maybe they have their own knowledge base, or maybe there's metadata associated onto the embeddings that is specific to that agent's specialty. So when you query your chatbot or your agent, that could be the orchestrator agent, like the team leader, and then he could reach out to the planner agent. So planner and orchestrator are working together, and the planner agent, she can go and delegate tasks out to the different specialties like marketing, sales, social media strategy. Like all those are specialties that have their own knowledge base and are doing their own RAG. And then there's also now RAG with graph databases. That one I'm not as familiar with because I haven't built that out yet, but I am going to start incorporating that into one of my projects. And that would be like basically adding in Neo4j or like a graph database where there's nodes and edges and relationships between each embedding to just give it even more accurate answers. So if you're going to build a RAG system in 2026, I would probably recommend LangGraph as the top one. That's one that I've used and I've had great success with. It's very flexible. You can basically choose different models for your different agents if you're going to do a multi-agent framework, which is interesting. You don't have to do that, but you can. You can choose like PG Vector for your vector database, or Qdrant. Then there's also Microsoft Agent Framework that I mentioned earlier. And then one that's a super fun one is Eliza OS, which actually is like Web3 and crypto, and was basically a meme coin that still is. Got a coin associated with the project, but it's got really good tech behind it. It was like one of the bigger starred repositories. I think it's got like 50K stars or more. It was trending on GitHub last year, but it has like character JSON files for each of the agents, so your agents can have more personality. And then it's also got PG Vector, or like whatever vector database that you want, you can put in there. It has memory for the agents, can store relationships as well, and you can create worlds with multiple agents. It's really interesting. You can add plugins and tools to each agent as well. And you can do this with LangGraph too, and also Microsoft Agent Framework. So all of these are good. It just depends on your use case. For like something more enterprise and corporate, especially if they're already on Microsoft's platform, obviously Agent Framework is a good pick. For anything that's maybe more of like a startup or like a small agency, someone that can move quick, dynamic, flexible, wants to experiment with a few things, probably LangGraph. And then something that you want to do for fun, I mean, even for maybe those smaller agencies too, Eliza OS. is what I'd say. And then we also have OpenClaw, and like, how does that fit into the mix? Well, with OpenClaw, you can basically spawn your own agents, and a lot of their system is like file-based memory. I need to dive in a little bit more to get a full understanding of that, but I know for sure that you could customize your own OpenClaw instance to basically copy in LangGraph and create your own multi-agent system within your OpenClaw setup to help you run your business and run your processes with multiple agents. So that's basically RAG in 2026. We have Agentic RAG systems, and then we also have RAG graph. Exciting stuff. Let me know if you found this content interesting. If you did, leave a like, comment, and let me know what you thought was cool or what you want to learn more about. I think in the next one, I'll go deeper into doing like a hands-on tutorial or walkthrough. That's it for now. Thanks, guys. Peace.